Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bradley Silliker, and it is lovely to see you today. And even though I can't actually see you, you're looking at me right now. I'm joined by Reverend Dr. Ian Fitzpatrick. Reverend Doctor, how are you today?
I'm well, Brad. Thank you.
It's great to spend some time with you over the internet. How has the day found you?
So far, so good. Enjoying the day, enjoying the ministry.
Reverend Ian, moving forward, what would you prefer me to call you on this?
Pastor has always been a term of endearment, and
Yes.
so I would like that, or you can call me Ian, whatever you are comfortable with.
Well, I'm sure as this unfolds, people will begin to understand our relationship together and why I'm going to call you Pastor.
Good. Thank you. Thank you, Brad.
Absolutely. Pastor Ian is the National Director for the Church of the Nazarene, and he is also, you're still currently the District Superintendent of the Quebec District. Is that correct?
Still serving in that capacity, yeah. I was appointed to that 6 years ago as a short-term situation, but that has become now 6 years old. So, yeah, to this point, I travel there quite a bit, not as much as I need to, but yeah, that's the role also.
Okay. Well, Pastor Ian and I have met on different occasions, in person, online, through work within the Nazarene Church. I serve as our district Nazarene Youth president, and so through that role, Pastor Ian and I have met. He's also been to Canada Atlantic, and he's come and preached at our churches and has taken part in our district assemblies. And I've also had him on other podcasts and things like that, and had an opportunity to interview him. I will not be using this as a way of promoting my other work, but through that, though, we started and began this conversation of, is there something that we could do in Canada for the Church of the Nazarene where we have conversation around biblical topics and life, and talk about holiness and share life together in a way that we can engage with leaders and with people all throughout the country. And so we began talking. It's been over a year.
Been a while.
It's been a while, and a lot has happened in our lives in that course of time, but we have been able to finally sit down, get the cameras rolling and the audio recording. And we want to spend just a little bit of time talking about the plan and the purpose for why we're doing this. There's lots of media out there, lots of people that love to talk, but we feel very strongly that the Lord has led us in this, and that there is a plan and a purpose behind it. And so, Pastor Ian, I'm wondering, we're going to talk more about who you are and get to know you a little bit better, because in our conversations, you mentioned you want to put a face to the name of a lot of our leaders across the country. We've got some fantastic leaders, and we're so spread out, we don't know everybody, and yet we're a part of this wonderful family. But I'm wondering if you could just kind of talk to us a little bit about maybe what the Lord's put on your heart for this endeavor.
Thanks, Brad. I mean, we have a vast country. It's a huge, huge geographical plot on the face of this earth. It covers so many square kilometers.
This is what editing is for.
Good. We live in thanks, Brad. We live in a massive landmass. 3 oceans border our country, and the space in between is occupied by 37 million people. 12,000 of those are Nazarene. Wouldn't it be great to have a higher percentage of Christians, let alone Nazarenes? And so, in this role as National Director, I was just thinking, in conversation with you, wouldn't it be great to put together some kind of a video connection so that we could speak to the people called Nazarene across this country on a regular basis? And it's not that it's going to be earth-shattering stuff, but it's going to be personal. It's going to be sharing struggles. It's going to be trying to look at biblical passages that are difficult. It's going to be some questions that might come to us.
Sure.
That's really the vision. It's nothing that hasn't been heard of before. It's not original with me nor with you, but it is a way for us to bring to bring us closer in the reality of the huge distances that we have to navigate as a church.
I think you make a really good point about how vast the country is and how spread out we are. And while we are certainly, and I can speak, I'll speak for myself. I'm not an expert on the topics and things that we'll be discussing. But it does create a focal point for all of us to look at and a resource for us as leaders. What I think is unique about this is that, the Church of the Nazarene, they do videos like this, and there are different things, but this is uniquely Canadian. The Canadian Church of the Nazarene to this point doesn't have something like this that at least I'm aware of. And while, our neighbors to the south put out some lovely production, and I've been a part of some of that, and so have you, it will be great to have some conversation that is contextual to who we are as Canadian.
I agree, and that's part of the purpose. So let's just do it. Let's just do it. You in your small corner, and I in mine.
Yes. So okay. So we kind of get an idea of why we're doing this. We want to connect with the leaders. We want to have conversation, and we want it to be contextual to who we are as Canadian Nazarenes. So would you take a few minutes, Pastor, to talk to us about who you are? I mean, I know who you are. And Mike, will you be wearing a tie every time we do this?
Well, there's a good chance. Yeah. I mean, one of the biblical principles, of course, of being a Nazarene is that you have to have a tie. And it can go with a button-down collar, which was more casual.
Sure.
But to go real formal, you need the starched collar, and of course, depending on the weather, a jacket is never out of place. Now, those are.
Well, I have a question.
You're interrupting me already. We've just started.
Yes. Is there a specific Nazarene knot? Are we a full Windsor, a half Windsor?
I would say at this point I'd just be happy with a knot of any kind. Like you put a granny knot on there. I don't care. But I guess there is a knot called a shepherd's knot, and you know what? That has a ring. That has a ring to it.
I'm very quickly Googling that.
Are you okay? Well, you know what? I did. Are you suggesting I just made that up? Is this a fact check now?
No. This is. I want the next time I wear a tie, I want to be wearing a shepherd's knot. That's what this is.
Well, I would think that if you can't find it on Google, then Google isn't doing enough work.
Well, I had misspelled it, so when it came up with nothing, I was concerned. But
well, if you'd like to move along and just now then concentrate on this particular episode, it would be good. Okay, that's not a word of rebuke. That actually was spoken. That was spoken in love, Bradley.
And I will receive it thusly. Amen. So, why don't we talk again? I don't know how we got off onto that one. Anyway,
because you asked about a dress code.
Yeah, fair enough. Why don't we talk about who you are? We know that you like knots and ties, but there's more. There's more than that to you, Pastor. So.
Well, actually, this garb, it just doesn't come from out of the blue. I mean, my dad was a real stickler for dress. I mean, he would wear a shirt and tie to work in the garden, and so there's no question that is not by accident. That becomes part of who I am, and I just happen to like it. I'm not advocating for it to be a dress code. It's just who I am. So the other side of who I am, schizophrenically, is that I grew up a bit of a rebel in our household, and so to return to this now at this stage of life is, I think, just punishment from God for my rebellious days. So here I am. the product of a Christian home, a great Christian home where mom and dad were Methodists. My dad's mom, in actual fact, was a charter member of the Lurgan Church of the Nazarene back in Northern Ireland. And so what goes around comes around. And after attending the Nazarene Church in May of 1975 and then becoming a member there in 1976, then the rest is history. So I'm the product of Christian parents. I am also the result of a wayward teenage life, and I then am the product of a recreation, having been found by Jesus when I was 21 years of age, transformed me, forgave me, put a call on my life which I received, and he brought my beautiful wife, Pat, into my life. We were married, Brad, we were married 42 years ago yesterday.
On behalf of all of us, happy belated anniversary.
I want to say publicly a big thank you to our district superintendents across this country, because they just sent me this. Now, isn't that beautiful?
It is. Is there?
Now, there are a couple of boxes of chocolates in there that I am tempted to break into, but I will resist until my wife returns from the United Kingdom, where she presently is.
Yes,
taking care of her mother. So that's who I am in a nutshell. It would take much longer to give you the full unabridged version, but that's the nutshell version.
Sure, and we have the opportunity another time to kind of delve deeper into your calling, and these are stories that we've talked about before, but it would be great for our listeners to be able to get to know you on the personal level and on the professional, the calling.
I look forward to that.
And just so that people know a little bit briefly about who I am, if you don't mind, I'm just going to let them know. You didn't ask, but I'm going to take just a minute.
Bradley, let me take a moment. Just now, could you introduce yourself? Could you tell the viewers who you are, because you are the brains behind this idea?
Well, I can't tell if that's getting thrown under the bus or if that was, I guess it depends how this comes out in the edits.
Right.
So my name is Bradley Silliker, and I'm originally from Prince Edward Island, where I'm now currently with my wife and 2 children residing again. I've been in youth ministry specifically for over 15 years, and not that long ago accepted a call to come to PEI as an associate pastor with the Church of the Nazarene in Sherwood. And so there's a whole lot of dynamics about what that role looks like, and at some point we can get into that more. But I also love technology, and I love music and anything artistic. I can't paint, I can't draw. The most artistic thing for me is in creation of, like, with music and video and audio, and the Lord put a passion in my heart. It started off just as a little kind of hobby. Let's see what we could do. And it just birthed into something even bigger, to use this kind of medium to reach people and to proclaim the gospel. And so having the opportunity to do this with you, Pastor Ian, is something I've been looking forward to. And I get to do another podcast with a few gentlemen on a weekly basis where we talk about holiness and faith, and then we, some ridiculous questions. But that's, that's a little bit of who I am. And I could talk about my rebellious young adult years, but, I've known Jesus came into my life. I asked him into my life when I was 6 years old. I remember where I was standing as a 6-year-old boy with my father when he prayed and led me to Jesus. And I could take you right to where I was standing when I felt and knew and heard God calling me into ministry. I could take you right to the place.
Wow.
And I remember the words he said to me. Those have been anchor points in my life. When everything else crashed around me, I never forgot those. And and that, there's been a long journey that's led me to this point and there was rebellion in there a little bit, and the Lord never left me. And that was something I remember. I can remember my rebellious years and what I was doing, and every night hearing God speaking to me and telling me he was still there. And then, similar to your story, my wife, Mandy, came into my life. We've been married now 11 years. Back in June 28th, we were.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you. Yeah, 11 years isn't quite the same as the 42.
Yeah.
But I love her more today than I did back then.
Wonderful.
We've been blessed with 2 children, Harmony and Jaden. Have you met my kids, Pastor?
I have met them. Yes, I have met them. I met them at family camp last year.
Yes, that's right. So my kids, and you know what? God has been so good to them. We just moved, and I just started this position 18 days ago. We moved a couple of weeks before that, but immediately, our biggest concern, our biggest prayer for our kids was that they would find good friends. And the day we moved, there were kids at our door, inviting them out to go play, and it just hasn't stopped. And the blessing of the Lord has been upon us. It's just been really cool.
That is wonderful.
So that's a little bit about who I am. And again, I'm not a professional with this, but this is a passion, and I love being able to do it. And so to be able to work with you, Pastor Ian, and see where this is going to take us, and then later connect with other leaders across the country, I'm really excited for that.
I am too, Brad, and I thank you for your work on this.
So we're not going to really do a whole lot more here. This was really just to kind of give a quick introduction to who we are, the plan, and pardon me, and the purpose behind this. Unless I'm wrong in this, I believe our plan is to try to do this once a month.
Yep.
And we'll start working out the delivery date of when we feel like a good target date is to disseminate this out. And you'll be able to find this on the Nazarene, the Canadian Nazarene website, which is, now I should know it right off the top of my head. Do you know it right off the top of your head?
Obviously not. I'm www something. I know it is that, right?
It is. You know what? This is so simple. Nazarene.ca.
There you go. And I want, in the days to come, I want you to know, and everybody who would access this, the gratitude that we feel to what you're doing in the church and the work of the church across this country, from the smallest congregation to the largest. Thank you all. Thank you for supporting the infrastructure that makes ministry effective. Ministry happens, but the delivery systems, which come from our district offices and come from the national office here. I want to introduce you to the workers here. I want to introduce you to the district superintendents across the country. I want to introduce you to our department heads across the country, to our NCMC executive director, all of those things. And we've got just so many things to be doing to connect us as part of the family of God. And then we'll have some laughter, we'll have some fun, we'll deal with serious issues.
Yep.
But I'm looking forward to it too, Brad. Thank you.
I will leave us with this little story. A gentleman who was in youth ministry, who was with a different denomination, joined up with the Nazarene Church recently. And so he was going through the manual, and he was asking me questions, just trying to ferret out some of what different things mean. But what he didn't know about the Church of the Nazarene was its scale and its global reach and its national reach. And because you can look in Atlantic Canada and there's about 12, 15, 16, churches. And in the denomination he was in, they were kind of like an island unto themselves. They didn't realize just how interconnected and the family that we have as Nazarenes. And so for me, the thing I think I'm really excited about with this is connecting with that family, and brothers and sisters in Christ all across Canada that maybe I've never met, but it's going to be great to sit around together around the table and share faith together. So Pastor Ian, God bless you. Thank you so much for your time. And listeners and watchers, thank you so much for spending the last, what are we at here? About 20 minutes with us. And we will be updating you soon on when the next episode will be coming out. God bless.
God bless you. Thank you.